Hi there, I'm Tyler Bollhorn, and this is the Stockscores Market Minutes for September 17th, 2010. Let's get right into the analysis. I am in tradescores.com. That's www.tradescores.com. I have logged in, gone to the Chart Watch tool, which you can see here at the upper part of the screen. I'm on the Chart Watch tab, and I have selected a watch list that I've created called Market Minutes, which has a list of stocks that I like to look at. I'm going to start off with the U.S. equity indexes, and we'll go right to the S&P 500 because I think it is the most important looking chart for today. Clicking on the small icon will bring up a large chart. Here you can see that we have a head and shoulders breakout today. Resistance held up for only about 4 or 5 days. I was concerned that prices would head lower from this resistance level. That has failed to happen. Instead, we have a breakout today right there. And notice that we have a shoulder, a head, and another shoulder over here. That's the neckline. And this breakout means we are likely going to move up towards the next levels of resistance, which are these two lines. So, even though the consolidation before the breakout was not very long, it is a good chart pattern setup, and prices are more likely to be higher than lower in the near term. The NASDAQ 100 has been doing even better. It broke through its line of resistance probably a week ago. We talked about that last week, where it broke through that line of resistance there. It may get stuck right here. That was an old peak, a very short-term peak, but more than likely we're headed up towards here. Don't be surprised if you see a pullback before it goes higher, but I think looking out in the next few weeks, this market is likely to be higher. Let's go take a look at the Dow 30. Which is also breaking to new highs and also from a head and shoulders bottoming pattern. Not quite as nice of a pattern. You can see that we had some resistance there, but again we've got that shoulder, the head, and the shoulder there, and likely to move up in the weeks to come. One thing we have to keep in mind is when a market rallies like this one has, and really you think about this month of September, it's been probably one of the best months of September in recent memory. It is very likely when you get a good run like this that you will see a pullback before it goes higher. But if you can ride out that pullback, we're likely to see some good upward momentum from here. All right, let's take a look at the markets around the world, starting off with the emerging market index. It too is broken from a little short-term consolidation. We did that today. However, we have some resistance right there which may stall this market, and that may take it back in the near term to that upward trend line before it resumes its upward trend. The next market I want to look at is the Canadian market. We'll jump down to the T.XIU. Here it is here. And the market tried to make a little break on Friday. It failed, but it succeeded today. But again, upside fairly limited on the Canadian market because of that resistance there. So I think what we're seeing in some ways is something of a sector rotation away from commodities and towards some of the really ignored stocks in the U.S. market. So we may see the U.S. market start to do very well, while the Canadian market, which has been doing very well, comes into some resistance. Let's take a look at some of the currencies. The U.S. dollar index is helping stocks because the U.S. dollar is falling in value. The U.S. dollar is nearing support, so we may see a little bit more downside before the U.S. dollar stops, but really we've got falling tops setting up here, and there's nothing to say that the U.S. dollar can't do something like that before it continues lower. The U.S. Treasury bond index is important to take a look at because it is an indication of fear and uncertainty. People tend to pile into U.S. Treasuries when the world is a little bit uncertain, and we can see that there's an upward trend line here which the market is bouncing off of. I think we may get a little bounce in here in the very short term, but I don't expect the market to move to new highs here, and I think ultimately Treasuries head lower. Let's take a look at some of the commodities, starting off with oil. Here's a chart of oil, and it is generally in a bearish trend. We have falling tops here. However, in the very short term, we've broken that little pullback, and so we may start to inch our way higher again. Pretty good support on oil here. I just don't think that the long-term picture for oil looks particularly good. Finally, I'd like to take a look at the chart for gold. And gold is in a good upward trend. No reason to jump ship yet. Although, if money starts to move into equities with a little bit more enthusiasm, we could see a break of that upward trend line. But right now, that upward trend line is intact, and therefore there's no reason to get out of gold and gold stock. Well, that's about my analysis for this week. Generally, stocks look like they're going to go higher. Don't be surprised if we get a short-term pullback before they go higher. But I have switched from being bearish because we were at resistance to being bullish because we have broken through resistance. Just recognize that there's a good deal of risk given that this market is up, roughly 8% this month. Last thing I want to talk about is how to position a trade for the trading challenge. Anytime that you want to cast your vote on a stock, essentially click on Make Your Trade, fill out the trade ticket. When you do that, it will be tracked in your trading desk, which you can then see here at the My Trading Desk area, where you can track your individual holdings. You can also see how you rank in the trading challenge. We have a leaderboard here, and we have many more different things to add. But I encourage people to practice their trading using that trade simulator on Tradescores.com. You simply enter your trade details with the Make Your Trade tab, and then track your trades in the My Trading Desk. See how you compare to the rest of the traders in the Tradescores community in the trading challenge. That has been the Tradescores market analysis for September 17th, 2010. Have a great week in the market and trade well.